Oh my, we are back! All the expected winners won. Deanna and Maxim for pairs, Ilia Malinin for men, Kaori Sakamoto for women, and Piper and Paul for ice dance, unless I'm wrong with that. But we won't be covering them because I don't watch ice dance. I swear all women looked into the moose eyes, or maybe they didn't, except for Reno, because all of them made mistakes, which is uncharacteristic. Performance of the night has to go to Rino Matsuke. What a magical performance. Well, I won't call it magical because I already called Yuna Aoki last week magical, and I called Yuna Aoki magical last season. So I think Rino gives meaning to the word serenity. Like what we watch, like the edge control that she has, like that step sequence, the fluidity in all of her movements, her extension, like how she holds her edges, deep edges. She's so fast, she's so light. I'm so impressed. Like Rino Matsuke, what a performance you gave. You even made me cry. And yes, I'm a sensitive person, but it's great job, Rino. You were really splendid. Like, I have no more words to say. I think yours is gonna be one of the performances that I'm gonna be constantly rewatching because of how perfect it was. I think if the judges had given you the high 9s and 10s that you so deserved, you would have won hands down. No one would have gifted you anything. I would have placed Kaori, if not below you, if very close at least. Speaking of my fave, I don't hate her programs as much as other people do. Do I like Benoit programs for her more? Yes, because I started watching figure skating when she was with Benoit and I loved all of her choreographies and she was so charming. And of course I love the piano, I will never get over that program. But I don't dislike what she's trying to do with this Chicago program. I see flashes of grandiosity, I see flashes on the transitions, which I find great. But there are others that I feel like are a bit empty. Maybe she's focusing too much on the pizzazz that Marie-France gave her, just focusing on the upper body and the arm choreography and the hand choreography, that she's kind of forgetting her feet. And again, after Reno, like everyone looks like a bit messy. It felt a bit empty in some parts, and I wonder if it's because she's focusing so much on improving in the areas that she currently is very weak in. I can see it. I can see it becoming my favorite Marie-France choreography so far. And while I don't like Marie-France, I do love Kaori, and I think she will make it work. But like most programs, they need work. I wish the judges gave her an edge call because it's so obvious. I still appreciate her trying though. I really do. To wrap up what was a Japanese sweep in Skate Canada in the women's field, I just hate that Hana is good. She might not be my favorite, but it's undeniably that she is so good. And I was just wondering, how are we, the Japanese Federation, going to choose who is Underworld's team? Because even if they split up, like 3 girls go to 4 continents and 3 different girls go to Worlds, it would still leave 4 out of the team. Because we have Kaori, we have Wakaba, we have Mai. This week we got the Magical Rino, Mone, Yuna, Mana, Rion, Hana, and Rinka. And they are so great. And they are so worthy of a spot. And some of them we have not even seen this season. I just find it mind-blowing how deep this field is. It's gonna be impossible to choose. We had a lot of comeback skates as well. We had Jelim came back. I don't think I mentioned her, but her fight was amazing. I really appreciate that she came back. I understand not having the motivation to do something, but she's great, and I think she doesn't believe it right now. She probably needs a lot of training and working back on her technique and as well as her rotational speed. Alyssa Liu, who's come back, again, another mental health struggler. She was never my favorite, but I really started liking her during Olympic season. I think she had grown a lot in all ways that are important. And I was kind of saddened that we wouldn't see her develop after the Olympic Games. But now she's back and she's better than ever. I wish The PCS reflected that because she improved so much during her break. And it's always great to see someone as talented as Alyssa Liu come back and actually get better. I'm always impressed by Maddie's kisses though. She's so fierce and she's a worthy member of Team Canada. Now for pairs. No surprises in pairs. Deanna and Maxim were going to win. The only way they wouldn't have won was if they had bailed out of several of their elements and had fallen in several of their elements, both in the short and the free. That didn't happen, so of course they were gonna win. By how much? Well, that is another discussion entirely. Now for the Uzbeks, that was a surprise team. Pair elements, great. Individual elements, fantastic. Very head over their shoulders. They didn't seem nervous at all, not in the short, nor in the free. I was pleasantly surprised by this team. Now, I do have to say that from what I understand, they used to represent Russia and so they moved countries. The only thing that I don't like about those changes of nationality is when they have no relation to the country they are now representing. It's a bit dodgy sometimes, and I hope it's the first one and not the second one for this team. My only skating critique is really about their interpretation because, well, yeah, I speak Spanish because I'm Mexican. So listening to the song and watching them trying to interpret it was not working for me. And honestly, it was a bit deterring. So I don't think they're very expressive and they need to work on their facial expressions. They left me a bit cold, despite the fact that they skated clean. And I think that should have been a moment. And it just left me wanting more from them. Now, the other team that was surprising to me were the Polish. I never expected to like them as much as I did. I don't really remember them from last year. I might have watched them, but maybe it was their program that I didn't like or something. They have really good chemistry, and I'm looking forward to seeing them at Europeans. Speaking of chemistry, my Australian babies medaled! Anastasia Gulubeva and Hector Yetopoulos-Moore. What a fantastic team they are. I just watched them and they remind me so much of Gordiva and Grinkov, and not in the way of their skating per se, but in their connection. It feels special, that's what I'm trying to say. I'm very happy that they are actually keeping their free skate from last season because it's so romantic, packed with transitions and interesting moments. It's such a shame that they couldn't skate it clean. I think Hector was having a bit of a day off. But I'm still happy that they medal. I don't care. That's the important part. I just feel a little bit bad for Annika Hoke and Robert Kunkel because I really like the team. I think they're very charming and they always bring a lot of energy to the arena. Nevertheless, originality was through the roof. They had so many interesting moments and so many interesting elements. They left me with my mouth hanging open and I appreciate that. And well, for men, well, it happened. It was there. Obviously, Ilia was gonna win. I didn't see a world where he was gonna lose. The strongest opponent here was Shun Sato. Overall, I do think that this week the field was weaker, and not because Shun Sato or Jun or Sota Yamamoto are not good, but it was obvious that Ilia was gonna win. And even though Shun is great, he was always gonna be far away from Ilia, especially with those inflated PCS. I agree, Ilia is improving, but having 9s, I think that's a bit of an insult to the fans as well. I was just... no. Just no. I don't find it fair to anybody, and all of these skaters are just going to feel frustrated because they are never gonna catch him with those PCS because they are not there. And I don't dislike Ilia. I think he brings a lot of energy and he is exciting to watch, and he's such a prodigy when it comes to jumping, and I don't think it's fair to anybody else that he gets 9s whereas Jungwon Cha gets 6s. Like, what is up with that? His free was amazing. I really enjoyed his free. His costume has to get my best men's costume that I've seen since Olympics 2018 maybe. And again, no hate to Ilia, it's just ugly. It's just ugly that the judges are doing that. I personally don't like his raspberry twist. I think, like I said in one of my previous videos, I find it very unruly. I think he has such long limbs and his lines are not good. And the raspberry twist and his now backflip are the epitome of that lack of control of his limbs. It's not very clean and I don't like it aesthetically, but he's jumping. I love his jumping. Continue to jump, but work on your PCSs because those nines, I don't see them. Now, going back to Shun and Sota Yamamoto, I really like their shorts. I don't really care about them as much as skaters because they have never been very interesting to me. They are not very charismatic on ice, which is a shame because they have gorgeous lines and they have fantastic technique. And this week they were on fire during the short. I really like their shorts. I hope they keep improving, but I still think they are battling for third place in Japan. Yuma, of course, is gonna be number one for Japan, obviously. A strong second, though, I think it's Kaomiura. And no, I'm not saying that because he's my favorite. I just think he's actually really good, and he's proven to be more consistent than the rest. The other good candidate would be Kazuki Tomono. We have not seen him skate this season, but last season he was doing really well. He was quite consistent, and he had great programs with such an enormous personality on ice. I think it's gonna be a race between Sota, Shun, and Kazuki, who actually makes it into the world's team. For Grand Prix de France that starts tomorrow, I hope that Kazuki Tomono wins. Second, I would wish for it to be Oyan Ying and Alexander Selevko third. But to be honest, I don't think that's very realistic. I would be surprised if Adam Siahinfa doesn't win Grand Prix, especially in France. Second, probably will go to Lukas Britsky. He's usually pretty consistent. And third, I think it's going to be a battle between Selevko and Tomono, depending on who goes cleaner, I suppose. Well, Shaidarov, it's always a potential candidate. He's always skated clean, even though he doesn't always have the most exciting programs. His interpretation is lacking a little, but his elements are great. For women, my heart tells me Jaeyeon Kim winning, Rion Sumiyoshi silver, and Amber Glenn third, because Amber is usually so inconsistent, which is a shame because she's such a gorgeous skater, and when she's on fire, she really is on fire. I would say the most consistent of them all is Jaeyeon and Mai. Break my heart if Mai ends up fourth again. But then I have to choose between Wakaba and Rion. I personally am more invested on Rion than Wakaba, but maybe if Wakaba ends fourth and Rion ends third or second, or Mai does, maybe they still have a chance to qualify? Maybe? Other than Minerva Fabian Hase and Nikita Volodin, I'm actually not looking forward to any of them, really. Maybe Lia Pereira and Train Michaud, perhaps, but the Italians like Sara Conti and Nicola Macchi, I'm sorry, but I just find them quite boring. For my prediction, I think it will go to Minerva and Nikita gold, and then silver for either of the Italian teams, and probably the Uzbeks. Very strong chance if they skate as clean as they did this week. So that's really about it. I'm very happy to be back. Tell me who were your favorites at Skate Canada. Who are you rooting for at Grand Prix de France? What are some of your predictions? But well, other than that, I'll see you next week. Bye!